that's going to get these stimulus funds, and they have already sent out 34,000 direct deposits into accounts this month as well.
More California stimulus checks go in the mail tomorrow. The Franchise Tax Board will send some 784,000 stimulus checks for qualifying residents who filed paper tax returns this year, though a few thousand payments will be direct deposits as well. The $600 payments are part of the Golden State Stimulus 2 program, which is funded by federal and state pandemic relief aid.
So expect that money to show up in your mailbox. Now, it's going to take a couple weeks for it to get to you if you haven't received it yet. Another thing about it is, by the end of this month, California will have sent out over $555 million in stimulus payments. Also, when it comes to these stimulus payments, you cannot be a dependent of somebody else's taxes. So if you're a dependent, whether you're an older dependent or a younger dependent, you cannot receive any of these funds. Another thing when it comes to this is that California, when it's all said and done, by the end of the year, they will have sent out over $12 billion just in stimulus checks alone. This is something that we've all been looking for. Either the rest of our state should have done or the federal government should have done. They should have been doing giving out stimulus checks on a regular basis, just like California has given out at least 2 over the last few months. Also, California has made sure that they're going to pay back all back rent as well as utilities. The federal government should have done that for us, or at least the rest of the states should have done that as well. And also remember, guys, when it comes to if you're a California resident, they're going to be sending these checks out every 2 weeks. So if you haven't received your check yet, don't fret, because they're going to send out another large batch of checks in the next couple of weeks. And also what's going on in government and that will impact us, especially during this holiday season: inflation.
Inflation, which essentially means high costs and lower buying power, continued to surge last month, with prices rising at the fastest pace in more than 30 years. It comes as companies struggle with a logjam supply chain and a nationwide labor shortage. The Labor Department's Consumer Price Index jumped more than 6% in October from last year. It was the 5th straight month in which inflation surged more than 5% year over year. Americans are now paying more for shelter, food, fuel, medical care, cars and trucks, and many other goods and services. And much of this is being blamed on the pandemic. Adding to the problem, costs are continuing to rise at a faster pace than hourly earnings. We have 2 reports on issues that impact your wallet, beginning with CBS's Anna Werner in San Francisco. Good evening, Anna.
Good evening, Nora. Ask anybody who's come to buy a car, and they're likely going to tell you that the one they wanted was tough to find, and it's likely more expensive. It's a measure of an economy where consumers are suffering the effects of higher inflation.
Heading into the holiday season, Americans are getting squeezed. Drivers now face gas prices nearly 50% higher than last year, roughly $1.30 more per gallon. Indianapolis's Suzanne Murphy now spends $73 to fill up her van.
We're just trying to curb spending in other areas so that we can afford to fill up our tanks.
It's not just the gas. New car prices are up over 9%. Used cars, some 26%. And in the grocery store, prices for meats, poultry, fish, and eggs have risen more than 11%. Steak soared 24%, bacon up 20%.
I definitely do see a change in the price.
All this as average hourly wages have actually fallen. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger.
It is a confluence of bad timing. We have enormous problems with our supply chain. And when you put rising demand and constrained supply together, you get inflation at a pace that we have not seen in 3 decades.
Shortages of materials and choke points in the supply chain could make for a pricier holiday shopping season. And keeping warm will cost more, too. Higher fuel costs are expected to mean that nearly half of U.S. households who heat with natural gas will pay 30% more this year.
Energy companies had cut back on investment in production because of the pandemic and are now struggling to keep up with demand. And there are real concerns about, is there enough global supply to meet demand?
Analysts warn these prices could continue through the holiday shopping season.
Almost every part of the Thanksgiving, holiday season, Christmas, Hanukkah, everything is going to be more expensive.
Now, when it comes to inflation, most of us see it on television. Most of us see it at the gas pumps. Most of us see it when we're at the grocery store. But most of us seniors don't think about it when it comes to your Social Security.
One local woman reached out to us. She wants you to know how hard it can be. Brooke Buckner has that story from Marble Hill.
We're not asking for a handout. We're asking to be able to live our golden years like we deserve to.
April Johnson's golden years include time with Peaches, her Pomeranian. But she admits it's tough to live on her Social Security income. And the 65-year-old widow says she's not alone.
I have a lot of friends that have to choose between getting their hair fixed or what they're going to eat for supper and medication. And that's crazy.
Johnson believes those payments should match the increases she deals with every day.
You were paying $3 or $4 for a pound of bologna, and you go to the store and now it's $9 a pound. Gasoline, $3 a gallon. Milk, over $3 a gallon. If you don't get food stamps, you've got to figure out how to get that food.
I reached out to financial planner Jeff Rose to talk about the inflation struggle facing seniors right now. Rose tells me seniors like April may have to make some tough choices in order to save money.
You know, people like having their own space, but it might be taking in a roommate, or it could be renting out a room in your house just to help cover certain expenses.
You can also take a closer look at your monthly expenses.
And oftentimes, though, it's those little things that we're holding on to that maybe we don't realize, like we don't have to spend as much. Maybe you're paying for a cell phone bill and you have this package that you're paying $20, $40, $50 more a month than you need to be.
Johnson says she doesn't want to ask her children for help. She just wants seniors to live their lives without the struggle.
But I do hope before I die to see an answer and not for Social Security to go down the drain.
If inflation is at 6.2% and your cost of living adjustment is 5.9%, the cost of living adjustment has already been eaten up by inflation and by the premiums and the deductibles that you're going to be paying for your Medicare this up and coming year. So remember, for those that count on your Social Security for your sole financial income, you're going to have to, once again, just like in 2020 and 2021, you may just have to pinch your pennies. Well, my name is Andre of Mostly Money, and I'm here to give you all facts. No fake, no phony, and no fluffed up information when it comes to what's going on in politics today. And if you're interested in getting the truth on a daily basis, well, you've made it to the right channel. All you need to do for yourself now is subscribe. Click that notification bell so you can get the latest and greatest information coming from Mostly Money, because I promise to always be here for you and your loved ones. Well, I'm on my way to the comment section. I will meet you all there. And if I don't get a chance to speak to you and you don't get a chance to speak to me, we are not going to fret about it, because I'll be speaking to you again